Welcome to Market Order. Here, we record our trades and talk about what happened, what we did, and why we did it. Sometimes we also review important economic news and discuss how it can affect the market. In this channel, you'll see many feelings that traders share: fear, doubt, stress. But one thing is always true: it's one of the hardest ways to earn easy money. The account you see here is an $80,000 account. To be precise, it's $88,700 right now. The goal was to grow it to $100,000 before the end of the year. But we also set a clear rule. We accepted an $8,000 risk limit for this plan. So the idea is simple. After the next 2 weeks, going into 2026, we will be trading with either $100,000 or we will be back around $80,000. And honestly, if you're married, maybe don't tell your wife this part. Our trading window is usually from the end of the London session through the New York morning and until the US market closes. We take the highest risk on gold and US indices, and we take the lowest risk on currency pairs. The trade you're watching here is from December 9th. For our analysis, we mainly use moving averages and ATR. At the start of the US session, I saw a reversal candle on the 15-minute time frame, so we placed a long order. That reversal candle is what we call the pivot. Most of the time, we enter in 2 steps. First entry, right after we see the pivot candle. Second entry, if price comes back lower toward a fair level, we add a smaller position using the 1-minute chart. But here is the important point. Even if we use the 1-minute chart for timing, our main entry and stop loss are still based on the 15-minute candle, or sometimes the 1-hour candle. Because focusing on the 1-minute chart is usually a mistake. On 1 minute, the market is noisy, nothing is really clear. On this trade, we risked around 1,500. The first entry was 1.8 lots, and we assigned the full $1,500 risk to that position. After about 1.5 hours, the trade reached a 1-1 risk to reward. At that point, in 99% of cases, we make the trade risk-free, meaning we move the stop to protect ourselves so we can't lose on the trade. After 1 day, the Nasdaq trade, which was already risk-free, was still in profit. And the next trading day, December 10th, was starting. Our plan for that Nasdaq trade was simple. If price comes back and touches our entry level, we close the trade. During the same hours, we were also watching USD CHF, the US dollar against the Swiss franc. We wanted to go long if we saw a clear pivot setup. In general, currency pairs behave differently than US markets and gold. They are often more choppy and move in short swings. You don't see strong weekly or monthly trends as often as you do in indices or gold. Because of that, we decided to keep the risk smaller on this one. We didn't want to risk more than $1,000. After about 1 hour, we got a 15-minute pivot on USD CHF, and we opened the long trade. At the same time, Nasdaq moved back to our entry level, so we closed that trade at break-even because it was already risk-free. Right now, the overall mood around the US dollar is bearish. One reason is the pressure from Trump on the central bank, pushing toward more expansionary policies. Because of that, our USD CHF long trade is against the bigger trend. So we consider this trade high risk, even though our position size is smaller. When the US market opened, we focused again on Nasdaq. We used the same idea from the previous day. After we saw a 15-minute pivot, we placed the first long order on Nasdaq. For now, the market doesn't feel completely unstable, at least during the last month of the year. So at this point, we have 2 trades open at the same time, one on Nasdaq and one on USCHF. In total, we have about 11.5 lots open. If the Swiss franc trade hits stop loss, we lose around $1,000. If the Nasdaq trade hits stop loss, we lose around $3,000. This is a very high total risk, and normally we don't trade with this much risk. The price action stayed volatile over the next hours. In this video, you will see the result of the USCHF trade by the end of the trading day, and the result of the Nasdaq trade will be in the next day and in the next video.